School sucks. I know. As a teenager who's been there and now a 15-year high school teacher, I can sadly still attest to this. But in this video, I'm gonna help you figure out how to make school suck just a little bit less. And maybe even, who knows, make it somewhat enjoyable. In my 15 years of high school teaching, I've taught over 2,200 students, and I have a pretty damn good inkling of what makes high school way more bearable. I'm gonna prevent you from being your own worst enemy. I hear students complain all the time about how boring school is, or insert other adjective here. But at the same time, I've often talked to students, offered a ton of advice, and they've done nothing. They wonder why school is still so terrible. Now, this video isn't a how-to or a step-by-step guide. I'm gonna give you the most practical advice I've got. So let's dive in so you can start taking control of your high school life. Now, these first 5 tips are all gonna deal with the social aspect of high school, which we all know is way more important than anything that happens in the classroom. So my very first social tip, and actually this probably encompasses all the remaining 24, get out of your phone. If you want success in high school, you can't bury your face in Brawl Stars. Number 2, practice small talk. A simple "how was your weekend" or "how's it going" can really spark some meaningful connections. You'll make a few friends in no time. Now, my third tip is to join clubs or groups. It's a great way to meet like-minded people. You already have something to talk about, so join those groups and get chatting with some new friends.
His fourth tip is to take initiative. Be the one who invites others to study groups, to go out for lunch, or to just hang out after school.
Number 5 is stay curious. Ask questions about people's friends, families, hobbies, extracurriculars, whatever. People love talking about themselves, and if you ask those questions, I guarantee you're gonna make a lot more friends.
This second group of tips all has to do with academic success, because if I know one thing about students is that if you can get your academics in order, you're gonna be a lot happier. So my first tip is to get off the treadmill. What I mean by that is stop doing all of your work the hour before it's due and you jump from one assignment to the next to the next. No wonder you're so stressed out.
My second academic tip is to use AI to create tests. Simply plug in some easy prompts to make multiple choice, short answer, essay type questions and study smarter, not harder than you ever have before. Academic tip number 3, don't cram, study in smaller spaced out sessions instead of one long marathon session.
Now, my fourth tip is to teach what you learn. Don't just sit in your room and read alone. Teach this stuff to others, because I promise being able to teach it proves that you learn it and you will know it for the test.
My last academic tip is prioritize sleep. Lack of sleep has caused memory problems, memory retention, bad grades, you name it. Get the 8 hours you need. What good is all that academic success if you're mentally way too stressed? So these next 5 tips are gonna help you with the mental side of school, and starts with number 1, practice mindfulness. Just spend 5 to 10 minutes a day focused on your breathing and paying attention to your surroundings. The second mental tip is to stop being so hard on yourself by limiting negative self-talk. Replace "I'm bad at this, I suck at this" with "I'm improving, I'm getting better, I'm making strides." It'll save you a lot of mental wear and tear.
My third tip is to set realistic goals. Break your projects and activities down into smaller, more manageable chunks. Or if you're somewhere in the 60s and 70s, don't think that by studying for 5 hours, you're gonna jump to a 95. Get to the 65 first, then the 70, then the 75, and go up slowly from there.
The fourth tip is to have another hobby. This doesn't have to be a huge commitment, but maybe something like drawing, journaling, reading, or gaming that simply relaxes you for a few minutes after a stressful day at school. The final tip I have that'll give you mental clarity: unplug regularly. Stop taking those dopamine hits every 5 minutes, and I promise your brain is gonna feel so much better. Now, this fourth category is probably the most important one to me because it was the most influential when I was in high school: extracurricular activities. And the first tip that I can give you, especially for you minor niners out there, is try everything. Join as many clubs and teams as you can, see what fits, see what you like, and discover what your true interests are. Tip number 2 is to focus on quality over quantity. It's a lot better to go real deep with a few activities that you really enjoy than to spread yourself too thin over too many activities. The third tip, learn to prioritize by being ready to step back from less meaningful commitments so you can really embrace the ones that matter to you.
If you want extracurricular success, this fourth tip tells you to show up regularly. Being reliable shows initiative and it builds trust with those people on your team or in your clubs. And tip number 5 is to seek feedback. Always look to improve and see how you can better contribute to the clubs and the teams that you're a part of. Now, this last set of 5 tips seems a little bit odd at first, but I promise you, finding fulfillment, finding peace and happiness in your life cannot be overstated. So these 5 tips should help you along your way. The first tip is to find your why. Understand the motivations behind your academics, your extracurriculars, your friendships. And once you find not just what you enjoy doing, but why you love to do it, your life is going to have more purpose than you ever thought possible.
My second tip is if you want to be fulfilled, you have to set non-negotiables. What that means is figure out what you love doing and protect that time with your life. Spending 10 to 20 minutes on something you absolutely love every single day is going to give you a really meaningful life. And the third tip is pursue passion projects. Pursuing something that you find deeply meaningful is going to give you a massively fulfilling life. Tip: it's not playing Brawl Stars. The fourth fulfillment tip I have is find meaningful relationships. Stop going for popularity and having hundreds of acquaintances. Really dive deep into those 4 or 5 truly meaningful friendships. And the fifth key to being fulfilled: keep learning. Pick up new skills or hobbies that excite you. By constantly improving and making progress in your own life on things that matter to you, it's going to give you a tremendous sense of fulfillment.
Now, after 25 tips, I couldn't leave without a bonus tip, which is this idea of at school, don't just show up, but leave a legacy. Maybe the people will forget that you've walked this hallways, but maybe it's a mural that you've written, or some pictures that you've taken, or something that you contributed to the announcements, or a club that you started that's still going 15 years later. Because if you come to school every day thinking about how you can leave a legacy, you're going to find social success, academic success, extracurricular success, mental success, and be fulfilled on a daily basis.
Now, if you struggled to find fulfillment in high school English, you're not alone. But if you found any value in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and clicking on this random YouTube video that the YouTube algorithm believes you will really like from my collection. Take care. See you in the next one.